Hey guys, my name is Andrew Tahako. If you guys don't know me yet, I'm co-owner of Rhino Baseball, and I also handle a lot of the recruiting, college-wise, in the program. Um, if you didn't know, I grew up in Schofield, Wisconsin, so born and bred Wisconsin through and through. I went to DC Everest. I played for the best coach really there ever was, in Coach Mark Simon. Love the guy. Will always love the guy. He taught me quite a bit, not just baseball, but life in general too. So now that you guys know that I'm originally from Wisconsin, I guess the first thing to say is go Pack Go. As you guys can see, I'm rocking the Packer gear for the Thursday night game, and I think a bigger thing to say is the Bears suck. I hope you guys can appreciate that being up there right now. I wish I could be there. Unfortunately, I can't. My wife is due in about a month with our third child. She had some serious contractions a couple days ago, so that has pretty much put me on lockdown from traveling anywhere over like a half an hour. So I wish I could be there, but family comes first, obviously. So thought the next best thing was to send over a video and really just run through some really basic recruiting info for you guys. Throughout the year, I'll be doing more videos, emails, etc. to really get some more info over to you guys as players and parents. So I hope you enjoy. Take some notes. We will be sending more stuff, so you guys have it in your emails and things like that. So um, any questions after, feel free to shoot me an email. I see all emails through the Wisconsin Gmail account, so feel free to shoot anything there, and we'll go from there. The first and foremost thing that I always tell players and parents also is they have to be realistic of where their child is as a baseball player or softball player. This is really the foundation of where recruiting starts. If you're not realistic about where your child fits in, then the process is going to become very stressful. You're going to probably not have a good understanding of when it should start, what schools should be talking to, what camps to go to, all those different things. So, being very realistic with yourself as a player and also as a parent of a player, it will help to understand where you fit, how that process will go, all those different things. So, for example, if you're a 5'8" baseball player as a sophomore or junior and your fastball is 75 miles per hour, there's a really good chance that Louisville is most likely not going to be knocking at your door. That's just a realistic thing in this world right now. Knowing where you fit as a baseball player or softball player, it will really help you as a family to understand the different timelines that are associated with where you're at, which camps to go to, all those different things. For some, that process can really start as early as freshman year. And we'll go into these timelines a little bit more here in a couple minutes. But for some, it can start as early as freshman year. For others, and it can go into sophomore year, junior year, and even for some, it can go as late as your summer after your senior year of high school. It all really depends on the type of player you are, talent wise. Are you a D1 player? And there's all kinds of different levels in that too. Within Division One, are you an SEC type player, a Big Ten type player? Are you a more of a mid major like a UIC or a Wright State, or an Eastern Illinois or UW Wisconsin Milwaukee? Where are you within that D1 type caliber range? Are you a D2 type player? Are you a D3 guy? Are you an NAIA JUCO type fit? And we'll go into more JUCO stuff too. And even within junior college, there's a wide range of programs out there that cater to the SEC type guy, that will ultimately be that type guy after a couple of years, or the guy that maybe will be a D3 or even a D2 type guy. So there's all those different ranges, and understanding where you are as a baseball player will really help to make that whole process easier for you. One of the most asked questions that we get is, after parents or players hear me talk about something along these lines about being realistic, the question that we get a lot of times is, okay, where does my son fit in? Or where's my daughter fit in? It's our job as Rhino Baseball trainers and owners and people that care so much about your sons and daughters is to be as open and realistic as we possibly can with you. We have to be honest with where we think you are for a couple of reasons, because that's our job, that's our duty, to give you that information as baseball players. Also, we have to send players to places that we think are good fits in terms of talent wise. If we start sending, Texas A&M text messages and emails and phone calls with guys that just aren't good fits there, we end up losing credibility on our side as a program as well. But you know, we have to be open and honest with you guys as well. So if there's any time that you guys question or want to know, hey, where do you think my son or daughter fits, or as a player you come up and ask, hey, where do you think I fit? We're gonna give you a straight up, as honest as we possibly can answer. There may be times that you may not like that answer, um, but know that it comes from a good place. Know that it's what we feel is right. Could we be wrong? Absolutely. We're never 100% right. We have a damn good track record. Well, I think we were closing in over close to 200 players that we sent off to college programs over the last 7 years. That ranges from anywhere from D1, D2, D3, JUCO, NAIA. And to be honest with you, when we look back and say where was these kids fit, um, more times than not, we're pretty dead on, and where we see players fit and where we end up getting our players off to. So feel free to ask, and we will give you that answer. One of my favorite things to show players all the time is to give an idea of getting outside of that bubble of knowing just players in their area within 20 25 miles of them, is to show them a picture of this gentleman, and it should be popping up on the screen right now. How old do you think this guy is? 15, 16, 17, 30. To me, I mean, this guy looks like he's at least 18, because he is in high school during this picture. But this guy's name, and very fittingly, is Rocco. He is a Louisville commit, and he committed as a freshman. And this picture is actually of him as a freshman. And the guy looks like he's 30 years old. But this gives you an idea of guys that are out there, that across the country, the type of players that you're trying to compete against, that are out there trying to take scholarship money, and things like that. So that gives you a good idea of the type of dudes that are out there, and the type of talent level that you're going to see. So let's get a little bit into the timelines of the different divisions that are out there in college baseball. So your high-end D1 caliber type players, so SEC, Big Ten, Pac-12, etc., that typically will start as early as freshman year. And usually the latest it'll go is into your junior year. For very rare cases, it may go into senior year if they lose some guys in the draft, things like that. But typically those high-end D1 caliber type programs typically start as early as those freshman years, and kind of go into those junior years. Your mid majors, so that's Horizon Leagues, your MAC conferences, your Missouri Valley conferences. Typically, those start sophomore year and can go through junior year, and sometimes even into your senior year. Now, when I talk about this, there's going to be different circumstances in each, but this is typically what you'll see as a player, what we see on the recruiting side, to give you kind of an idea. Now, your D2 schools, those typically start junior year and can go well into your senior year. A lot of times, those D2 schools will kind of see what happens with the D1 schools. There's a lot of guys that are maybe borderline D2, D1, and they'll kind of wait to see how that stuff shuffles out. D3 schools, you typically start seeing that process really start playing out your end of junior year, and can go well into your senior year. NAIA, if you guys don't know what NAIA is, it's it's not governed by the NCAA. It's got slightly different rules in terms of what they can offer scholarship wise. Typically, they can offer more scholarship money than you will receive by going to a D1 or D2 school. So a lot of times it's a really good option financially, but usually NAIA follows kind of the same recruiting timeline as D3 schools, and sometimes D2 schools, where they'll start kind of junior year and really go well in his senior year as well. And then you have the JUCOs. There's a lot of different levels of junior college. Usually, no matter what, though, those JUCOs don't start recruiting really heavily until well late into junior year and well into senior year too. So that kind of gives you the timeline. D1 high calibers start as early as freshman year and go through junior year. Mid-major D1s can usually typically start sophomore year and go through junior year and sometimes even senior year. D2s typically start junior year and go into senior year. D3s typically start end of junior year and well into senior year. NAIA, usually same as D3s, where they start end of junior year and well into senior year. And then JUCOs usually kind of come along at the end and really start recruiting heavily at the end of junior year and well into senior year as well. So that kind of gives you a timeline of those different divisions. So let's get into the actual scholarships a little bit. Division One, they only have a total of 11.7 total scholarships to spread out across their entire roster if they want. Again, 11.7 total. So it's not very much. The minimum that they can give is 25% athletic scholarship. Usually or typically, if you see a scholarship of 50% or even a little higher, that's a pretty darn good athletic scholarship for the baseball side of things. Schools have to be very careful in terms of how they use that money, how they divvy up that money. They don't have a lot of scholarships, so it's hard for them to put a big offer out there for a lot of players just because they don't have very many and they have to utilize it the best they can. A lot of times when you see a kid commit, there's a good chance that sometimes they're a preferred walk-on, and that basically means that they get no athletic money. They're guaranteed a roster spot on there from the coach, but they get no athletic scholarship money. We've had two really good examples of that. One is Logan Schmidt. He's pitching at Miami of Ohio. Fantastic student. Miami of Ohio was his absolute dream school. Because his grades were so good, he got a ton of academic money, and Miami of Ohio took him as a preferred walk-on. Another example is Dylan Psychovics, who is currently a freshman at Wisconsin-Milwaukee. He is a preferred walk-on right now. They said, yeah, you got a spot here. We can't give you any money year one because we don't have any left because they used up all their total scholarships, but they really wanted him there. So what they're doing is year 2, 3, 4, and they're even giving him the option of year 5 if he wants. They kind of back end his scholarship. So in that instance, he is a preferred walk-on because he didn't get any money year one. He didn't sign a letter of intent because there is no money year one. But he will get his money year 2, 3, 4, and even into 5. So there's different scenarios that if you see kids commit that it could be that preferred walk-on scenario. D2s, even less scholarships. They only have 9 scholarships to give out in total. So money becomes very tight for those guys. And then D3s, there is absolutely no athletic scholarships that Division III schools give. Now, there's grants, different academic monies they can hand out, and there's a lot of different ways that D3s make things work out to be able to help financially, but there's no athletic scholarships. When we talked about NAIA before, they actually have a total of 12 total scholarships. So they actually have a little bit more than D1s and 3 total scholarships more than D2s. They can also do a whole heck of a lot with different grants and academic money and things like that. So a lot of times NAIA is a really good option financially. And then, when we talked about that preferred walk-on and with Logan Schmidt and being able to go pitch at his dream school because of his grades, that's why academics, and we stress it so much, is so important. Not only get into some schools maybe that you really want to, but there's not a lot of athletic scholarship money out there on the baseball side. And so that's where academics becomes vital in terms of trying to get some money off in school.